Hello and welcome back to the SuperCoach Corner podcast for another episode. I'm your host, Tyson, and joining alongside me, as always, is Darcy. Darcy, we're looking at the mid prices and rookies on the midfield line. Rookies are a bit scarce. Do you reckon there's enough for us to decide?
Yeah, it's becoming more and more difficult as the days go by with the rookies in the midfield at the moment, Tice. But I think there's a few there. I think we might be able to just scrape through at this point. Hopefully, a few can come to save us come round one. But yeah, we'll dive into all of them and see, let you know who to pick and maybe who to avoid.
Yeah. Yeah, keen to get stuck into it. Firstly, shout out to the socials. Just make sure you're following us on Instagram and Facebook and all of that. You'll find us on TikTok. Yeah, wherever there's social media, you'll find us. And we've got our Unlimited League 728323 and some cash leagues running as well. So message us to get involved there. There's a bit more details on our socials as well. But the leagues are filling up. We're getting close to full. So get in before it's too late. And subscribe. It's free to subscribe, so why not? Yeah, let's get stuck into it. Let's start with the rookies here, Das. Will Brodie, I'm going to throw at you first. Didn't play in the practice game. What can we still pick him?
The job security is obviously the big question mark with Brodie. His scoring potential has shown he can do it before. It really depends on the other guys we talk about. If it's really sparse like we're expecting to do and he's picked for round one, then yeah, I'd probably still be inclined to pick him and just hope he does enough to keep his spot. But yeah, it'll be hard to justify knowing that there's every chance he misses the next week.
Yeah. Look, if he gets his spot, I do like it. But the fact that Ollie Wines is only suspended for 2 weeks, and it looks like Jack Watkins, who we'll get to soon, sort of took that spot that we thought Will Brodie was going to have. Wines is out for 2 weeks. Horne-Francis doesn't have the injury. If Will Brodie comes in, he could be a straight swap for Ollie Wines when he comes available. So in 2 weeks, when you want to do your upgrades and downgrades, maybe just keep Will Brodie to the side. And if he gets selected for a third game and going to get that price right, that's what I'm doing with Will Brodie at least. I think that's the smarter way to look at it, just because his job security is pretty shaky. But on the other hand, let's look at another guy that is definitely a lock in everyone's side. I don't know how 18.6% of the competition are not picking Jagger Smith. He could easily be a keeper by the end of the year, don't you think?
Yeah, he's a lock. He's a lock. I was thinking about making a joke about fading him, but there's just nothing there. Just pick him and move to the next. He's the one guy we can trust out of all of these guys.
Yeah, definitely. We're pretty scarce in the midfield for the rookies, but he's just one you lock away. Dyson Sharp from the Essendon Footy Club, high draft pick, looked pretty good. Didn't get that much midfield time as what we were expecting. Sort of played that high half forward. 149k. Looking at the rest of the lines, I think we almost have to pick him just because he's going to have that job security. They're going to get games into him. So yeah, obviously, provided he is picked round one, but is it just as easy to lock him as the first guy on your bench, or could you even play him on field?
You'd probably rather have him as that M9. Yeah, I wasn't that high on him and haven't seen heaps from him in the preseason, but yeah, like you said, it just seems like he's going to be our next best option, really. Him and the next guy we speak about are probably the only two guys that we can really have heaps of faith in. The other guy is Jack Carroll. Just hoping that he gets picked. Obviously, the job security is a little bit of a question mark there, but the role we love with Jack Carroll. So if he's playing, I'm picking him and just hope he's that maybe 22nd, 23rd guy for St Kilda.
Yeah, it's selectable as a mid just because he's played midfield in the past. But yeah, it looks like he's made that shift to half back, which we'd love to see. Not like a massive accumulator, but he'll do enough to justify, making some cash for you on the bench. So he's probably one you could lock away at this point on your bench in the midfield. Next is a guy that was a late SSP signing for North. He's available for 99k, midfield only. Tom Blamirez racked up the touches in that practice game. Is he a lock in our sides now?
Yeah, he's in our sides if he's playing. Obviously, there's still McKercher to come back. So he was sort of playing that halfback role. So he comes straight in, go straight out. Sorry, when McCoach comes back, hopefully not. But yeah, 99k and what he showed he can do, I think there's no question that if he's playing, we're picking him. Just gotta keep our fingers and toes crossed that he's getting a game.
Yeah, 24 touches against the Pies was very good to see. But like you said, McCurch has got to come back into this side. I reckon it's almost a straight swap. He probably did enough to justify keeping that spot. Maybe another guy will lose his because of how well he played, but you have to wait for teams on that one. I think if he's selected, it's a easy pick just because he's 99k. It lets you spread that extra 20k you're saving elsewhere. So yeah, that's always nice to have. Next on the list, we're going to look at Chase Jones, one that's got a lot more experience playing on that wing for Adelaide. We thought he was going to provide enough of a showing in the practice game for us to, be locked in on him. Available at 120k. You obviously didn't see enough. I know I didn't see enough from him in the practice game. What, are you still going to pick him at all?
Yeah, he was so quiet. I think there's heaps of competition for that wing spot. Another guy we talk about could be an option. There's still coming to come back. So there's guys who can play on that wing. I know Dan Curtin's out for majority of the first half of the season, but yeah, we're just expecting a little bit more in that Pracky match that he didn't deliver. So yeah, again, he's really fallen down that pecking order. I don't think he's out of the question at this point, but just fingers crossed that he gets a game and sort of deliver. It might be one of those ones that you just have to wait till round 3. If he has the first good couple games, then we can bring him in then. But yeah, it'll be hard knowing that he can play a full game and have 5 touches. It'll kill your SuperCoach side if you have got him dwindling away on the bench. So yeah, it's getting a bit scary. When he was one of the guys we were trusting maybe a week or 2 ago, another guy we did trust a lot, Tice, about 3 weeks ago, was on everyone's bench. It was Brechko, moving from Geelong across to Richmond. Was rumoured to have that wing spot all his come round 1, but just didn't get the game time we were sort of expecting across both practice matches. You're a Richmond supporter. Do you think he's sort of on the outer and he's going to have to fight his way through the VFL to get a spot in that team now?
Yeah, he might get into the squad just with the injury news from Sam Cumming. They might just do some shifting around and, give Ross a bit more midfield time, maybe McAuliffe a bit more midfield time, because McAuliffe was sort of been training as a wingman, but we know he's a better inside player. We just didn't have enough room for him in that midfield. So it could be a bit of manoeuvring around, get McAuliffe back into the midfield, and Rechko just takes up that wing. All the talk was he was, dominating the trial games, the time trials and everything like that. So he's just going to run all day. So he could get a game, but they could make him bide his time through the VFL. So I'm a bit 50-50 on whether he is selected. They obviously had an extended team for the practice game. So with only one guy going out, you still need to take another one off that bench. So at the moment, I think he's on the outer.
Yeah, unfortunately. Fingers crossed maybe that injury is a saviour, but we'll just have to wait and see there. And Watkins is the last one, who is was a rookie draftee for Port. Had the role on the weekend, that practice match, and looked good doing it. Again, he's fighting up against Will Brodie. Will Brodie. I think he's in the same sort of boat as Will Brodie. He's sort of maybe just a placeholder for Wines at this point. The 99k is obviously really appealing, and the role was there on the weekend, but yeah, the job security is the big question mark.
Yeah, the only annoying part about the Port rookies, I guess, are the fact that they don't play an opening round, so we don't get to see it before in a real game before we, have to select them. So I feel like if they're both in the same team, Watkins and Brodie, if they're both selected in round 1, then only one's going to survive when Wines is available. If only one of them selected, they could keep their spot, but then it's a to and froing. So I'm going to say the same thing I said for Will Brodie for Jack Watkins, in the fact that maybe just wait the 2 weeks, see when Ollie Wines comes back, see if he's going to keep his spot before you use him as a rookie option. But Das, we've listed a lot of names there who were decent options, and none of them are really locks apart from Jagger Smith. So, maybe it's best you can pick a forward mid rookie or a defensive mid rookie that's got that DPP to be starting on your midfield bench. One guy we will touch on in the forwards rookies. Cook from Adelaide comes in at that higher price. He looks like he might have that other wing. They've got a lot of wing injuries in the Adelaide side with Dan Curtin going down for a while, coming back in a few weeks. 158k. He looked a little bit better than Chase Jones. So at the moment, he's probably ahead of him. Could you pick Braden Cook on your midfield?
Yeah, I don't mind it. If he's got that wing role, I don't think he'll blow you away, but the job security is a little bit better. It does seem like he's a little bit ahead of Jones. So, and the DPP is nice as well. So I think that's got to be where, like you said, a lot of these guys aren't really convincing us in any way. So you might have to lean to someone like a Cook on your midfield bench, or maybe swap a Grill up there or something like that, or a Jacob Farrow having your bench there. Normally we'd like those guys on our forward or our defensive lines, but at this point it doesn't seem like that's going to be an option for us. But Tyson, it's saying something when these guys are sort of somewhat an option, and then I think there's another category where guys we've looked at this preseason, but they're probably not going to be making our sides come round one. So a few of the rookies that people have looked at, but we probably wouldn't be leaning towards, would be Angus Anderson, carrying a little bit of a niggle at the moment. Looked good in the unofficial practice match, but didn't get a gig in the official one due to an injury. Rowan Steele at just under 200k has shown a bit, but the price tag doesn't warrant the selection at this point. Same can be said for Willem Dersman, the number one pick. Obviously, you got a bright future ahead, but at over 200k, I don't think the scoring is going to justify the price tag that you're going to be paying there.
So,
Schoenberg,
sorry,
Tice.
I'm just gonna jump in on the Willem Dersma pick. I'm kind of warming to it a little bit, just due to the fact he got some midfield time. I know they just wanted to sort of see what he's got, but their midfield mix is it's Devon Robertson, Harley Reid, Elliot Yeo, Tom McCarthy. They're the main four. They're not throwing anyone else in there. I mean, Jack Graham is probably going to get in there and do what Willem Dersma did, just getting their 8 CBAs. But if he's just going to be stuck on a wing, I agree with you. I don't like it. But if he's going to get some of that midfield time, which we don't know now because they don't play opening round, I'm happy to wait on Willem Dersma and maybe have him as a sideways from a failed rookie. I know I need to find some money to get up to him, which is the annoying part, because you've got to justify paying 203k. I'm not paying 203k for just a winger.
Yeah, I just think it's too much. Even if he goes inside, I think his slight frame, he's going to be struggling a little bit in there against in a really struggling side. I know it was a practice match, but West Coast showed that they're going to be a liability this year, and he'll struggle to justify. So I just don't. I think you're paying over 200k for a guy who will probably get 40s and 50s from. So I think there's probably better options. Sam Cumming, you mentioned, Tice, was looking like, again, maybe another saviour, but did his shoulder. And there's no Cumming for a month. And Dan Annable, he's the last one. Highly rated draft pick coming out of Brisbane, but he just looks in the outer. He'll have to bide his time through the VFL, unfortunately. So that sums up the rookies, Tice. There's a few there. We're going to have to get pretty lucky to hopefully fill out that bench with some guys we can trust. But look, it could separate the good coaches from the not so good coaches if you get these guys right. So make sure you keep an eye out in opening round, see who's playing well, who's going to keep their spot, just so you can nail those picks to make as much cash and get as much bench cover as we can, especially during the early buys as well. It's really important to nail those picks so you've got good cover in those rounds. But with that, mate, we'll move across to the mid prices. And we'll touch on some of these. And these are a lot more appealing than the rookies. So maybe we'll just stack our full midfields full of mid prices. The one at the top that I'd love to touch on is Hayden Young. I think he's just a lock at this point.
Yeah, I really like the Hayden Young pick. He got that injury. Like, it's a bit of an injury scare at the moment. He's done an ankle, might be out for a couple of weeks. We don't know. I think he's going to be fine for the first round from early reports, which is good to see. I think if he's playing, it's just straight pick him because he's so good. His points per minute is unreal. He came on as a sub a lot of times, got subbed out, and whenever he was on the ground, he was scoring points. With a preseason, like full preseason in, provided he's had that little scare now, I think it's just an easy pick for Hayden Young. So I'm so sold on this. He's one of their main rotations in that midfield.
Yeah, I agree. From all reports, they're still expecting to play next week. So that's good signs out of that minor scare that came from training yesterday. Tanner Bruin, Tice, one that sort of blew everyone away in that practice match, running off halfback, really gave something that Geelong were lacking. I think he's someone who a lot of teams are now leaning towards. I think he's in both of our sides. So I'm definitely keen on Tanner Bruin.
Yeah, definitely love this pick. Provides that great dash of halfback for Geelong, and they should definitely persist with that. Even if he goes into the midfield, he's going to produce your 80s, which is great buying for his price of 270k. So definitely love that pick. Harley Reid is another one that you're seriously considering here, Das. I believe he was in your team of real. And yeah, number one draft pick. We know this kid's got a lot of talent. I just can't get around it being the fact that he's from the Eagles, and I do see them being wooden spooners again.
Yeah,
But I don't hate it.
yeah. I'm struggling now to justify it just because of how bad they are. So I think he'll struggle to score and have those big games that you want from him at that price. So yeah, I've sort of cooled on the Harley Reid pick.
Yeah, that's fair. Another one that we could probably lock away as a genuine premium, provided he keeps his body right, is Darcy Parish. Another one that their main midfielders, the emergence of Jai Caldwell in the last couple of years, because obviously they picked him up from GWS. Does that affect his midfield time? But they threw Zach Merritt up forward. I don't know. I think Darcy Parish's only position is in the midfield as a genuine on-baller. So I think we can just lock him away and maybe see him as a genuine premium.
Yeah, I don't think they have another position for him. So he'll be in that midfield, and they'll just have to rotate guys around him. So, yeah, I don't see him reaching the lofty standards he set for himself in years gone by, but I think he'll definitely make some cash at that price. It's too hard to pass up.
Yeah, agree with that. The next, I'm going to bundle these two together. Harry Rowson and Stephen Cornelio. They both might be beneficiaries of Tom Green going down. We know we don't like to see injuries, but Cornelio was their second choice midfielder in that practice game, and Ralston was up there as their fourth choice. So it was only Clayton Oliver and Toby Green ahead of them. We really like the I guess the option at their price. They're both just around that 300k mark. Whoever's going to get that midfield time with Finn Callahan back in the squad, we get to see that in opening round. I'm very, very much leaning towards if one of them is the clear beneficiary of, getting some time in that midfield for GWS.
Yeah, I'm a bit less hot. I just think there's too many rumors and too much vision of these two guys. Toby Green's going through there. James Leakes had some time through there in the practice matches, which I don't think will come to fruition in the actual games. But I think there's other guys that will get thrown through there, and I don't think I can bank on unless I see it in opening round and I'm really blown away by it. I don't think I can bank on that role staying for a long period of time and enough to really see a big spike in either of those scores.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. If I just see it from one of them and it's not a mix between both, I'm very much more hot on it. Another guy that has sort of come to light through yourself there, Das, did a little clip on the socials as well. Xavier Lindsay from Melbourne, 270k, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 274k, selectable as a midfielder. Why do you like this pick very much?
I just love that ball distributing halfback role, and it looks like he's made that move there this preseason. Got a lot of the footy in that practice match, albeit cut short due to the lightning. But he's a great user. They want to get the ball in his hands. They love him at Melbourne, and taking kickouts is just huge for SuperCoach scoring. It really raises that floor. So I think it's good buying. And obviously, price wise, he's competing with the likes of Parrish and Bruin and Rouston, all around that same sort of price. But I think there's definitely some upside there. I don't think I'm ballsy enough to pick him myself, especially because we don't get the opening round to have a look at him. But I really rate Xavier Lindsay as a player and one to keep an eye on throughout the season.
Yeah, can't disagree with any of those points there. George Wardlaw is the next one we're going to touch on. Currently nursing a hamstring injury. He's expected to be available around that round 2 to 3 mark. If he gets a game, maybe we can look at him. If one of these, players goes down, or like a Young or a Parrish, because he's that 396k. We know that Wardlaw was a top end draft pick. He's definitely got the talent. It's just, can he keep the body in check so then he can get to a consistent game. So just wait on him. And then the last one, can we even consider this guy? Because he racked up 41 touches in the practice game against Essendon. We're obviously talking about Marcus Windhager here. Eligible as a midfield only. 41 touches. Wow, that's accumulating the ball. Yeah, why can't we start him?
Well, I've seen a lot of people leaning towards him after that practice match. The role change is really tempting, playing a lot of halfback and having those CBAs as well. And he can run all day. He's one of the fittest guys in the comp, so we know that. I'm just not. He's just too expensive for mine. I think it's 440k. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he is a bit expensive, and I think there's upside there. You'll get the DPP potentially as well. I just don't think he's racking up 41 touches every weekend.
Yeah, I think if you're picking someone over 400k, you want them to be keeper premium in your squad. Below 400k, you want them to get up to 500k and then maybe sideways them to a fallen premium. Yeah, I just feel like you got to pick him and got to have faith that he is going to be a top in his line. If he's going to stay in that halfback role, is he going to be a top 10 defender? Not too sure at this stage. It's probably easier to avoid Windhager than it is to start him and, be less scrambling trying to trade him out. Some better options, like some guys that probably are, there's some better options around. Some guys that we've named are probably better. We'll start with Harvey Langford. There's been a fair bit of talk about him possibly having that huge breakout year with the leaving of Clayton Oliver and Christian Petrarca. It leaves a big hole in that midfield. You're a big Harvey Langford man. Why are you not talking around Harvey Langford a lot more?
I just think that the role split, I don't want wing time if I'm picking Harvey Langford, and he seems to be playing a bit on the wing. I know he's still getting those inside minutes, but if I'm picking him at 380k and expecting a big breakout year, like you said, at that price, you're wanting to push 500k and potentially even more at the upper 300k mark. So, and I don't think you can do that with majority wing time or a good chunk of wing time. So if he was playing inside mid and only inside mid, then yeah, I'd be tempted, but I think he's just too expensive, and there's better options. A lot of the guys we mentioned are probably have better roles and better options than Harvey Langford. I think the same can be said for Levi Ashcroft, Tice. Obviously a class act and a really good player, but at 400k, he's likely just going to find himself on a wing again. We know how good Brisbane's midfield is, so it's going to be really hard to crack into there. He will one day, but I just don't think this is the year with the likes of McCluggage, Neal, and Dunkley still, and his brother in Will Ashcroft still sort of having that edge over him. So I think there's better options than Levi as well. Ollie Florent, same can be said. I've kept a keen eye on him throughout the whole preseason because I like that halfback role, but I just don't think the scoring potential's there. And there's better options. Like you can get Bruin for cheaper, who I just think will be more damaging. So I think there's an easy pass on Ollie Florent, and Josh Ward likewise. If you're hoping for a breakout year from Josh Ward, he needs to be a top-end midfielder, and I don't think he has that in him.
Yeah, and he didn't have that full midfield time like we were expecting it to come to fruition in that practice game. So we definitely didn't see enough to justify picking Josh Ward either. Ollie Florent, I'm a bit more hot on. I get to see it in opening round, which is what I really like to see. The only thing is Nick Newman's back in 2 weeks. Does he go back through the VFL? Not sure, but yeah, with that suspension, with him coming back, maybe he's going to take Florent's spot and Florent just gets pushed to a wing. So yeah, probably easy to avoid them. But that probably wraps up all the rookies and mid prices as mid eligible. And yeah, thanks for that, Das. We'll catch you in the next one where we'll talk about forwards.
Perfect. Thanks, Tice.
Cheers, mate.